Welcome to another episode of your favorite libertarian. In today's episode, we're going to talk about 4 questions that you can ask yourself before you buy something. I consider myself a bit of a minimalist. I like to focus on the more important things in life, which actually aren't things at all. Full disclosure, I did 100% steal these 4 questions from the Minimalist. You can find their YouTube channel and the video, which is 2 hours long if you want to go really in-depth on buying, in the description below. As I often review products on my channel, I thought you'd benefit from some of the questions I ask myself before I buy something. Are you ready? Here we go. Question number 1. Can I afford it? Question number 2. Will it add value to my life? Question number 3. What's the alternative? And question number 4. Can I wait 30 hours if it's $30 or less, and or can I wait 30 days if it's $100 or more? But this is totally essential. What do you mean? I need it. So you now know the 4 questions, but there's a little bit more depth to them. As we know often in life, things are a little bit deeper than what they seem on the surface level. So let's break down these 4 questions. First, question number 1, can I afford it? There are a lot of costs associated with an item besides the initial cost, and we'll get into those right now. For illustration purposes, I will be using this as an example. This is a Glock 17 demonstrator by Blackhawk. It is not a real gun. It is a plastic gun for illustrating things, for martial arts training, etc. So for those of you who clicked on this page or clicked on this video just because of the title and are not gun people, don't worry, this is not an actual gun. But it will give you some examples as far as these different questions and breaking them down in detail. So first, can I afford it? Again, tons of costs associated with it. We're using this as an example. Let's say you want to buy a gun, because that is something a lot of Americans do or have already done. Something that should be obvious with this question when asking can I afford it is, can I actually afford it? Meaning, do I have to borrow money? Do I have to put it on my credit card? If the answer is yes, you can't afford it. You need to be able to pay for it with money that you already have. Moving on. First, you have the pre-cost. That's even before you buy the item. There's the cost in time to research that item. If you're doing some of the other things in the other questions, you're researching the item, you're trying to figure out by word of mouth, by YouTube reviews, by articles, comparison reviews of different guns, which one you want to buy. And that could be just your time in trying to figure that all out on the internet or elsewhere. And it could also be your time going to the range, renting different guns, and there's a cost associated with rental fees, as well as the ammunition needed to test those guns. Next, and the most obvious one, you have the cost of the actual item itself, which is what most people consider the only cost when they're looking at this question. Next is the cost to care for it. And in the case of a firearm, much like a vehicle, it's a mechanical device, and there's certain things that you need to do. There's scheduled maintenance, most of which is going to be taking it apart and cleaning it. But otherwise, you're going to also have to feed it ammunition because it gets angry when it's hungry, gets hangry, if you will. Cleaning supplies, your time cleaning it and taking it apart, lubrication, all of those things factor into caring for that particular item. Those are costs to consider as well. How about the cost of ancillary equipment surrounding this particular item? Now, if you've seen anything on my channel, you know that there's a lot of support gear that I try to make sure that I have for different firearms that I own. And a handgun is no different. You need a holster. If you don't already have a safe, you're going to need to get one of those. Of course, that is not an exhaustive list of ancillary costs. I'm sure you can think of more. And if you do, let me know in the comment section below. Let's talk about the cost to modify. Now, you may purchase a firearm and say, this is perfect just the way it is. I think it's great. It's my favorite version of this particular gun. Or you might say, well, this is a good start. And you see this a lot in the firearms world. I'm guilty of it as well. You get a gun and you say, this is great, but I think I want different sights. Yeah, I could probably get a better trigger. I also want to cut this for an RMR. Oh, I also need to buy an RMR for it. Magazines, maybe get some extended base plates. Oh, the grip's okay, but I could probably make it better and do some stippling or send it in for some special grip work. Get a trigger undercut. Get a light, because there's no light on it right now, and see what's a good light out there. Maybe I'll wait for this new light to come out, or maybe I'll use a light that I have. Maybe I'll buy another one because I already have a light on my other gun. There's a lot of costs associated with modifying this item if you are to do so, and really, especially for this particular brand, the sky is the limit. For an item this big, you probably don't have to worry about spatial considerations, but that is something you have to worry about with larger things. And especially if you have a safe that is smaller and you have a bunch of long guns, handguns, there's only so much room and only so much stuff you can pack safely into there. If it's a different type of item, like a vehicle or a camper or a boat, are you able to store it on your property? Do you have to rent a storage space when you're not using it to be able to store that item? There's all sorts of spatial considerations, and those considerations are probably different for everyone depending on where you live and how many people in your household. If you're a single dude in a one-bedroom apartment, you probably have a lot of space, but if you are a married dude with kids in a one-bedroom apartment, things are a little bit different. And now for the last cost that I can think of right now, but if you can think of any more, let me know how much smarter you are than me in the comment section below. And the last one I can think of is mental cost. Thinking about the item, worrying about the item, worrying about it wearing out, worrying about it getting stolen, worried if it were to spontaneously combust, how you would feel, and of course, worrying about all the other costs associated with the item that we listed previously. Will it add value to my life? Now, when talking about this question, if we want to really dig deep, it's really two questions, and those questions are, does it bring me joy, and does it serve a purpose? Firearms are purpose-built tools, and there's the obvious purpose for a firearm, which is defending life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, deterring tyrants, and just doing awesome American things. There's also specific purposes for specific types of firearms. Now, this is a handgun, so obviously this is going to be easier to conceal than a bazooka, a tank, a nuke, or an F-15. And it's going to be something that you can have on you all the time because it is much lighter than all of those things. So the purpose of this is going to be probably a self-defense tool and probably also a secondary weapon to a long gun if you're geared up for watering the tree of liberty. As I consider myself a bit of a minimalist, I try to do kind of a one in, one out rule. So if I already have a gun that's serving a specific purpose and I'm seeing this other new shiny thing that I want to get that is, in my opinion, better at fulfilling or serving that purpose, then what I'll do is a one in, one out rule. So I will sell the one thing that I think is inferior to buy the thing that I think is superior. And that way it does a couple things. It frees up funds to purchase that thing so I can, again, actually afford it. And it also makes it so I don't have to worry about all the costs that we talked about previously associated with purchasing an item times 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. That's just me. You do you. Does this item bring me joy? I don't really know anyone that has purchased a firearm and been like, you know what, I do not enjoy that I own this now. But it is something that over time might change as far as your answer to that question goes. And for me, that happens a lot, especially with carry guns. I find that I do some research. I think that, oh yeah, this is the one that I want to go with. I think it's going to fulfill all the purposes that I have for it, and it's going to meet all my needs. But then I get it, and either in shooting it or carrying it, either it just doesn't work for my body type, or it just doesn't shoot very well for me, or whatever it is, and I end up selling it. I can't tell you how many guns that I have bought and sold in the process of trying to find the perfect setup and have it exactly what I want. And then let's say you even do that and it's perfect for you at the time, different products might come out that are better and it might change your opinion on it compared to something else. I wish these were real. What's the alternative? Now, a lot of people also call this question opportunity cost. So in prioritizing your spending, you have this amount of money, you've already determined that you can afford it with asking those questions before. Now you have to decide, is this the best thing I can spend my money on right now? Meaning, would it make more sense to invest this money, to pay off debt with it, to buy something else, to save a little bit longer, to buy something slightly better or way better than this one thing? Or is this the thing that I should be spending my money on right now? Now, the fourth question, which is going to save you a ton of money if you ask yourself, which is, if it's $30 or less, can I wait 30 hours? And if it is $100 or more, can I wait 30 days before I buy it? This is going to eliminate impulse buying. You have advertisers out there that have a job entirely of making you feel inadequate unless you have this one thing that's going to make you whole as a human being. Those advertisements are constant and they are in your face. They are trying to get you to buy the thing instantly, and that's at retail stores, that's online. And now there's no barrier of entry into purchasing something. There's no friction. You can go on Amazon, find the thing, buy it, have it shipped to you, and be at your door next day. That's terrifying if you have trouble resisting impulse purchases. So what this does is it makes it so you actually have to think about what you're buying and be intentional. After 30 days, if the feeling that you have to have this item wears off, that probably means that it was something that you never really needed in the first place and you don't have to buy it. The other thing that it does is it gives you more time to research the item. You might actually need that particular item, but not that particular brand or specific item to fit that need or serve that purpose. And in researching and having that time to research, you can say, oh, well, look at all these negative reviews. This thing's garbage. I don't actually want this thing because it's junk. Or you have that amount of time to research and say, actually, this is exactly what I want. It does the things I want it to do. And this is going to answer all the other questions that we talked about previously. And this is going to be a really good purchase for me. So those are the 4 questions to ask yourself before buying something. I hope you found this video helpful in determining best ways to spend your money. And if you'd like to get real in-depth on this topic of buying, check out episode 140 on the Minimalist YouTube channel, linked in the description below, of course. I am currently going through this journey from selling my Glock 19 to purchasing something else to replace it. So if you'd like to follow me along there, subscribe to my YouTube channel as I make videos every week. Click that notification bell so you're notified when those videos come out. If you'd like to support my channel, I now have a Patreon link in the description below. If you like this video, like it and share it if you think other people will. Also, let me know if there's any questions that you would add, and share your buying stories in the comment section below. And as always, thanks for watching. Stay free. God bless. I am a Jedi, like my father.